Hey guys, Fox here, and today it is time to do my Week 5 game picks for the 2024 United Football League season. Now, this past week was the worst week I've had so far in game picks, but overall my record is still pretty impressive, especially when you compare it to a lot of other betting channels and guys out there for the UFL. So, I'm feeling pretty good about it so far still, and without further ado, let's just get right on into this with the two Saturday games of the Stallions versus Roughnecks and the Brahmas versus Renegades. This is the second batch of regional broadcast games. These are the only two games being played on Saturday. And, well, people expect an upset. With these two matchups and then the Defenders Battlehawks, a lot of people are expecting there to be at least one major upset. And the Roughnecks is a good team to potentially pick. The Roughnecks are a plus 7.5. The over-under is 42.5. And they are plus 295, whereas the Stallions are minus 375. Now, the reason is for those people who do know that this Roughnecks team is actually the Gamblers from the past 2 years in the USFL. The Gamblers are 2-2 against the Stallions all time. 2 of the 3 losses the Stallions have are just to the Gamblers. And this is despite the 2022 Gamblers team basically just being a defense that kind of carried a very, very bad offense aside from Mark Thompson to, being still not that good. And then a Gamblers team last year that had a hot streak and then also had 2 different kind of lows. But the fact is they've always been able to get at least one win against them. I don't think this week is that win. I think the Stallions do win this week. I think the Stallions want to go to 5-0. A 5-0 start basically guarantees you the playoffs. At that point, you'd have to literally lose all 5 of your last 5 games, and even then you still might make the playoffs at 5-5. So I think they win this one, but it's a close one. I think it's 20-17. The Roughnecks do cover. The under does hit, and the Stallions hit the minus 375 money line. Why? Well, the Roughnecks defense really played really well last week against Luis Perez. Despite all the injuries, despite all the issues they have in their D-line, they still were able to make a Renegades offense that had looked very good in the passing attack look pretty pedestrian. And while I do expect Martinez to be the starter of this game, as it seems to be a just flip-flop for Skip Holtz, despite Martinez being the better quarterback in my opinion, I think that overall they are able to kind of slow them down a lot, to the point where the Stallions only are able to put up 20 points. Now, while the Roughnecks have the best offense in the league, at least that's what Curtis Johnson says, I think that overall the offense is going to look a lot better with Mark Thompson being more healthy. What I kind of said during the live stream about him, not really getting a lot of carries because they were concerned about his health, ended up being proven a bit true. Curtis Johnson did end up talking about that, they didn't want to force him to get a ton of carries and they expect him to have a lot more this game. But even with that, I think the Stallions are able to get the W this time. Though in the rematch, I probably think the Roughnecks win, but for this one, I'm going with the Stallions. Now, in terms of the Brahmas versus Renegades, this is a game that I'm very shocked at the spread. Minus 2.5 for the Brahmas seems really low. Plus 2.5 for the Renegades, it's just, the Brahmas are a better team, and then the over-under at 42.5, that I do expect, but the Brahmas minus 135 versus the Renegades plus 114, it's kind of shocking. Yes, I get it. The Brahmas did not look all that impressive on offense last week. They had the one insanely good half, the first half, then the second half they just got obliterated. Now, yes, people will say that's because the Panthers defense took it up. I say it's because Dormade is a overrated quarterback. Not that he's bad, because people always seem to think that overrated means bad. No, it just means that Dormade is not the second best quarterback in the league, which, not from anyone in the comments, but I've actually seen people online say Dormade is now the second best starter in the whole league, which, no, he's not. But the fact is that I think that Dormade is a okay quarterback. I think that what he did in the first half is an aberration, and what he did in the second half is an aberration. Aberration good, aberration bad, he's an okay quarterback. That's why I don't think they're going to light up this Renegades defense that is pretty poor, especially because the Brahmas' run game has still been really bad throughout the whole year. So I think they're able to, they don't put up 30 points against a Renegades defense that they should put up 30 points against. That being said, the Brahmas defense is a really good unit. I don't think Perez is going to play as bad as he did last week. That's why I think the Renegades score a lot more than they did last week. But in the end, I think the Brahmas win this game 24-22. I think the Brahmas win this game, but they don't cover the spread. The Renegades have kept a lot of these games close, with last week being the only one that really was, even then, it took a block of really, a bad penalty by Canella to end up, forcing them to miss out on a touchdown that they probably would have gotten. So if that doesn't happen, they probably keep that game within just a few points. I do think this game barely hits the over. Again, the Renegades defense is still really bad, and even though I think that Dormade is not as good as Chase Garber's, at least from what I've seen so far, I do think he's going to be able to put up at least 24 points, and I think the Renegades are going to be able to put up at least 20 points themselves because of the fact that Perez is going to play a lot better than he did last week. But the fact is that the Brahmas are a better team. They just are. Defense for defense, they're way better. Offense for offense, it depends. The wide receivers, the Brahmas are better. Yes, Vaughns and Burnett are really good for the Renegades, but the receivers are better for the Brahmas. The Renegades have the better quarterback, but the Renegades have the worst offensive line. Both running back rooms are pretty bad. Overall, the Brahmas are a slightly better offense and a way better defense. But when you have the better quarterback, it's going to keep the game close. I think the Brahmas win this game, but the Renegades keep it close. Now the Battlehawks versus Defenders are the first game on Sunday, and then the Panthers Showboats is the second game on Sunday. Now I will be saying I am live streaming this Battlehawks Defenders game. A lot of you really enjoyed the live stream I did last week for the Tank Bowl. I do have time to do another live stream this weekend, so I am going to be doing it of the Battlehawks Defenders. I'll be going live at 11:45 a.m. Now as for this game itself, -3 for the Battlehawks, over under 46.5, money line -170 for the Battlehawks, +142 for the Defenders. If you think that this spread is crazy, you haven't watched what the Defenders do at home. The Defenders are 10-0 at home, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it's 10-0 or 11-0 at home, dating back to the 2020 XFL, the 2023 XFL, and then this season. They just don't lose at Audi. It's something about them at home. They just always find a way to win. It doesn't matter how bad they look, how good they look, they always win. So it's a question of, can this Battlehawks team beat them? Because by all metrics, the Battlehawks are a better team. In terms of who's been playing better, technically McCarron has been the best quarterback in the UFL. Now, yes, some of it is by being a game manager, despite the fact that he has this incredible receiving core. The point is, the Battlehawks have a better rushing attack, a more consistent passing attack, better talent in the receiving core, defense, been banged up, so it's hard to judge how good the defense actually is, but overall they're a better team than the Defenders. That's why I'm going with the Defenders to win this game. This is the upset of the week. Here's the real reason, though. And Battlehawks fans are going to be upset at this pick, but here's the reason. Like I said in my NFC East division pick, I did that. It didn't get. I don't know how many of you saw because it was during the offseason last year for the spring football. But I said the Cowboys win the division. My entire reasoning was they are a worse team than the Eagles. They have a worse coach than the Eagles. They are a worse team in every metric by the Eagles. No team has ever repeat the NFC East in like 20 years. Why would I go against something that has stayed true? The Battlehawks winning this game would be a bigger upset than the Roughnecks beating the Stallions. I'm not joking. The Roughnecks beating the Stallions isn't even an upset in my opinion. You expect it. The Battlehawks beating the Defenders at Audi would be a massive upset. That would be a huge deal. So the Defenders, by all means, should win this game. They don't lose at Audi. They're like 10-0. They always win there. There's no reason to stop believing that now. Even though the Battlehawks are a better team, the Defenders win this game. And just as an FYI, if they do win this game and it's close, I'm still going to put the Battlehawks above the Defenders in the power rankings. I'm just laying that out there. If the Defenders go out there and beat them by like 15, of course the Defenders will move above them. But my score prediction is 27-24, as you've seen. I think the Defenders naturally do cover, obviously. I think the over does hit. I think this is the high-scoring game of the week, and it's a +142 hits. If this is the final score or something like this, the Defenders are still going to be below the Battlehawks in power rankings. It's just something about them at home. They always find a way to win. It doesn't matter if they try to throw a game, do a miraculous comeback. They always win at Audi. Until they lose, I'm going to pick them to win at Audi. That's the only reason I'm picking them. They are the worst team. The Battlehawks are better. In a neutral field, I'd pick the Battlehawks 9 times out of 10. At Audi, I'm picking the Defenders 10 of 10 times until they lose. Now, the Panthers versus Showboats. +1.5 for the Panthers is crazy. This is even crazier than the Renegades Brahmas won. 40.5 points for the over-under, completely understandable. +105 for the money line for the Panthers, -125 for the Showboats. E.J. Perry is out. He is basically out for the season. He technically could come back in the playoffs, but the point is that he's on the IR. Danny Etling is going to be the starter. Aside from the interception, he looked pretty good against the Brahmas. Now, yes, it was the second half. The Brahmas probably playing a bit of that god-awful prevent defense kind of thing, but let's be real, the Panthers win this game. Look, it's going to be like 20-14. Panthers cover, Panthers win, but it's an under. It's just, they're the better team. I just don't see how the Showboats really keep this one up. The Panthers' defense has been quite arguably the best unit in the entire league. They are able to pressure the quarterback. They're able to stop the run. They're able to be good. Just look at what they did to Dormady in the second half of the Brahmas game. Why should I expect the Showboats that have still not been able to protect Case Cookus to be able to do it? Legitimately, the only way I see the Showboats winning this game is if Case pulls off one of those miracle games, which he does from time to time, or B, they just decide, hey, we're just going to go with T-Will for the whole game because he's more mobile than Case. Those are the only two ways I see this happening. I think that if they play like they've played the last few weeks, there's no way the Showboats win this game. Yes, Victor has gotten better and better every week. But even then, his better and better is still not to the level he was last year at his worst. So it's very hard to think the Showboats are going to win this game. The Panthers are a better team. I get it's at Memphis, but the Showboats have looked really, really bad. And a lot of people still believe that they are the worst team in the league, even worse than the 0-4 Renegades, which I don't really argue that. I think the Renegades are the worst team until they win, but I wouldn't argue that. So I'm going to go with the Panthers winning this game, plus 1.5 spread they cover. Now, in terms of the overall record, like I said, last week was bad. I think I posted it on Twitter wrong. I think I said I went 6-6. I actually went like 5-7, so it was a negative week. But overall spread, I'm still technically positive at 8-7. Then there was the one, push. 9-7 in the money line, so still good there. And over/under is still really good. 10-5 in the over/under, really good. That's 2-1. It's a really good number. Now, I did not have any perfect team score predictions. There were a couple games off by like 1 or 2 points. Didn't have any perfect game betting predictions. There was a couple that were close, but again, didn't hit in any of them. But overall, it's still a solid overall record. The only one that I got fully wrong, which really tanked it, was the Brahmas-Panthers. I got all 3 wrong in that game. But again, still, the over-under at 10-5 is really good, and I'm still technically positive in the spread and money line. So we'll see what happens now. This has been ZombFox. If you enjoy this content, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell. Massive shout out to the first ever community member of the channel, Strange C73. He is the first community member of the channel, being a community friend tier. He will get exclusive emojis as well as an exclusive video every month and exclusive community post as well. So if you want to join him in being a channel member, make sure to hit the join button or the link in the description. So thank you again for Strange for becoming the first channel member. And as always, guys, have a great night.